Hey, it's Paul. Welcome back to another episode of YNR Update. A lot going on in this one. I mean, so much to cover. I'll jump right into it. We see Billy, and he's with Chelsea, and he notices that she's really jumpy. Now, he asks her what's going on. She really tells him it's nothing, but we see her daydreaming. She's daydreaming of when her and Gabe were together, rolling around, all that good stuff. But after she leaves to go to Newman, Gabe shows up. Now he wants to talk to Billy about what's going on over at the now Newman Abbott. And Billy tells him, the cause is lost, there's nothing to do, Jack has changed his mind. And Gabe accuses him of being a quitter. He says, almost like the old Billy I knew. And Billy wants to know what he's talking about. And Gabe says, well, the Billy I've heard about from other people. So it's getting really hard for him to keep the line straight. They get into it about Chelsea after that, and it's the same old thing. I mean, it gets kind of vicious. And what Gabe says is that Adam is everywhere. I mean, he bought the place. He carried her across the threshold. The memory of Adam is there. It'll always be there, and he walks off. I mean, the guy's dropping a lot of clues. Not that anyone can figure out that he really is Adam, but it's almost time that this thing is over. Next we see Nick, and he tells Sage that he's being sued for battery. Yeah, because he put a whooping on that reporter. But there's ramifications for this. Chelsea then pops by and asks Sage that if she's seen Gabe. Now, she tells her that she hasn't. She obviously is curious as to why she wants to know. It's just a road she doesn't want her going down. But, Chelsea leaves it as, I'm just concerned, blah, blah, blah. If you see him, please tell me. After that, Nick gets a call from the therapist, and she tells him that Faith, in one of their sessions, mentioned that she saw the altercation between Nick and the reporter, and now she's afraid of her father. So what do? They call Child Protective Services, and they actually take Faith away. Now Nick runs down there with Sage, and he's told that in the meantime, she should be with somebody else, preferably a family member. So Nick is frustrated. He's trying to hold his temper. Sage is trying to hold him back. So he does the next best thing, and he gets a hold of Vicky, and he gets her to come down and hang on to Faith for a few days, but this is driving him crazy. After that, we see Dylan with Sharon, and we're told that he was able to step in for Michael because Michael is now ill and in the hospital. They get a little closer. Dylan starts telling her about how him and Avery ended up losing a child. They have a really touching moment. They tell a few jokes. We see them bonding. We know what's coming. Like I said, set your watch. They will be a couple. After that, we see Victor and Vicky, and they're with Ashley, and things aren't going really well there. And all of a sudden, Chelsea shows up with some of her designs, and Vicky shoots it down. Now, things get a little weird here because they really put her back to the wall, and eventually, she says that she's had enough of it. And what does Chelsea do? She ends up quitting, but not before Gabe comes by and sticks up for her. And Victor basically chases him out of there. After that, we see Chelsea, we see Gabe talking. She thanks him for sticking up for her. She's obviously curious as to where he's been, but the one thing she does is she asks him not to tell Billy about what happened. And he agrees, but he says, I know you can't forget what happened between us. And then as they leave, we see Victor and Ashley warns Victor. I mean, he was really quick to let Chelsea go, and she reminds him, that is, the mother of your grandson, and you've just chased her away. So think about that when you don't have access to your grandson. So for the first time, Victor actually has to think about some of his actions, which we haven't seen him do a lot of lately. Then we see Chelsea, and she gets back together with Billy at the apartment, and she fills him in on the fact that Gabe came to her rescue, and Billy fills her in on the fact that Gabe showed up there. Now, once again, Billy says, why don't we get married today? And Chelsea thinks, and obviously she's running away from her feelings, so she says yes, runs up to pack, and apparently they're going to get married tonight. So we'll have to stay tuned for the next episode to see what happens. After that, we see Jack and Phyllis. They've just come back from a ride in his new Ferrari. He's feeling as carefree as ever, says he's not going into work. Now, Phyllis questions him about this, and he says, no, I trust Victor. He's got things. I want to devote all my time to you. Now, every time it's always a bit of a sell, but Phyllis ends up buying it. But eventually, Billy does go to Phyllis, and he says, he puts all the facts in front of her and says, this is crazy, this is lunacy. Like, we've got to hatch a plan and do something and work together. Now, he no sooner gets the words out of his mouth, and then Jack walks in, and of course, Jack is not happy to see Billy there. He wants to chase him out of there, but Billy says, this is crazy. Tell me if you've got a plan. And Jack says, well, you're going to have to trust me on this. They're still selling the story of after the accident, how they had coming together. But Billy tells Jack he will figure out what the hell's going on, and he leaves. Now, after that, Gabe arrives, and this is where it gets dicey. Everybody's wanted to know what happens when Gabe runs into Jack, or fake Jack. And Jack tells him, Gabe says to him, what the hell is going on? What have you done? And Jack says, because he's not really familiar with Gabe, if you don't like it, you can get the hell out too. And after Phyllis leaves the room, Gabe says, come on, what's your plan? Let me in on this. And he goes, I'm not really a Bingham. And all of a sudden, Jack's curiosity perks up. So this is where we leave things. It's really interesting, I think. So that wraps it up for YNR Update today. It's Paul. I want to thank you all for checking us out. Tons of support on social media. I couldn't be happier. Keep subscribing, keep spreading the word, and keep following us. Thanks, and have a great day.